celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life with Sterling Fox on AM 650.
Welcome back to the program. Nice to have you with us this morning. On today's program, we're talking about your health and the importance of a good and healthy night's sleep. In studio with the sleep solution experts Dave Temlett and Terry Harder from Innovative Sleep Solutions down there on the King George Boulevard in South Surrey, White Rock, and online at innovativesleep.ca. We're talking about warranties and marketing and all of those sorts of at Terry's point, and I agree completely, that more Canadians get worked up about sleeping and sleep problems and sleep issues during the summertime than at any other time of the year, because it's the least comfortable time, especially in other parts of the country, more so than here, where it gets humid and sticky. And I mean, we've had a couple of warm days this past week, but imagine that for like 2 or 3 months nonstop. That would be Ontario. Yeah. So that's it's that time of year. So when we get curious and a little antsy and start to look for those sleep opportunities or alternatives, well, the marketeers in the sleep industry are pretty tuned into all of that, Dave. They're expecting large numbers of Canadians to be investigating sleep issues over the summer months, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny, though, because again, it's no secret that Terry and I always say you should be going out. A happy consumer is an educated consumer. So at the very least, you should be going out to look at least 2 or 3 different stores.
Yes.
Not just walk into your, the little the big box that's there that is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on radio and TV advertising.
Right.
You walk into a store like that, and now going back 20 years ago, that company, when Terry and I worked there, used to be so set on finding the right bed for the right customer.
Right.
And now it's a big push on the package, where, what I mean by that, Sterling, is that the customer comes into the store and they'll say, "Oh, did you come in to look for a mattress and mattress pad and mattress package?" Mm-hmm. For example, and again, difference between Terry and I is we try to sell the right bed to the customer and not really worry about all the add-ons per se.
Sure.
So what happens with the other big guys is that they have to put in X number of dollars in all the add-ons. So you walk in, you're looking for a mattress. They're going to sell you a bed for about $600. Okay. Then what they're going to do is they're going to give you a couple of pillows for a couple $100, and a mattress pad for another $100. Buy a set of sheets for a couple $100. So now you've got $500, $600, $700, $800 in add-ons on top of your mattress. That's where they make the money.
Right. So interesting. Okay.
We don't do that. We focus on finding the consumer the best beds for their needs, for their individual solution.
And this goes back to the way in which you were trained, Terry, in the business and have conducted yourselves for years. The two of you combined have over 50 years in the business, and your training and your instincts in the business take you back to the way you learned in the first place, which is when a customer comes into the store, it's about that person and his or her needs. Having some trouble sleeping. I've heard you guys on the radio. I knew it would be worth my while to drive down here to South Surrey, meet you, and have a chat because I have this particular issue. And people will tell you that, and then you go, "Oh, okay, well, my experience says you should try something like this, and if that doesn't work, you should try something like this." You can speak specifically about health to people and their sleep needs.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that because we actually had a couple that Sterling. Bern and Georgine came in.
Okay.
And they ended up purchasing one of the Serta I-Series
Smart
mattresses.
People.
Yes.
Smart people.
And they've heard us on this program and certainly felt it was worth investigating. So they came in, and they were very smart. What they did was they came in, they found a bed that they really, really liked. They put a deposit on it. Then they went out and they shopped out in the marketplace to make sure that they were getting all the information they need.
And let me just stop you right there, because I think you guys have been doing this. Dave and Terry have been doing this since show 1, and it's been almost a year. Every show they do, Dave and Terry recommend to our listeners that they go out and shop at a variety of other competitors.
Absolutely.
And then come back to the store. It's gutsy, guys, to do that, to encourage your potential consumers to go check out somebody else and risk losing their business. But at the same time, by the time they do finally get to the store, they're ready to see you, aren't they?
Well, we have a different approach. We don't think it's gutsy at all. We think it's very smart, because then they can actually go out there and see how everybody else conducts their business in terms of, are they well trained? Do they know the product? Do they carry the leading brands in the industry, such as Sealy, Simmons, Serta, Nature's Embrace, and Restonic? If the mattress company you're looking in doesn't carry the 3 leading manufacturers, the S brand, Sealy, Simmons, Serta, then you have to ask yourself, why is that?
Right.
Why is that? Everybody carries that product. So if they're not carrying it, then maybe they've got a history of, in less than spectacular business practices, potentially.
So back to these White Rock people who came by, investigated, had a chat, put a deposit down on a particular mattress model, and then took your advice and went out kicking tires or beds in other retailers. And how many other places did they go, and what was the feedback when they finally came back to you?
Well, they went to every store in the South Surrey / White Rock area.
Oh, boy.
And they came back and they ended up buying from us, and they found our prices were very, very reasonable, and everything that we offer, we stand behind. And again, we give a 120-night comfort guarantee. So, if you get the bed home and you find it's either too hard, too soft, too hot, or too cold, whatever your case is, then just come back and we simply exchange it for you. It's that easy.
Okay. Now, you were talking about this couple that you were using as examples, people
Bern
that
and
I've met. Yeah. They're from South Surrey, White Rock area themselves, so this is kind of in their backyard.
Right.
But at Innovative Sleep Solutions, by the way, friends, it is in South Surrey, White Rock. It's on the King George Boulevard, right across the street from the South Surrey Auto Mall. Pretty easy to find, but not exactly around the corner and up the street if you live in, say, Nanaimo.
Well,
and yet
people
listening all up and down the east coast of Vancouver Island listen to AM 650 all the time, because our signal just pounds into the entire east coast. We hear regularly from people as far away as Port Hardy and Qualicum and Parksville, Nanaimo, Coombs, all down through that area. So you get people from the island. Now, do they investigate online, Dave, or do they actually jump in the car and the ferry and come over for a look-see?
Well, in this case, they heard the radio show. This one couple in particular, Dave and Bonnie from Nanaimo.
Okay.
And she phoned a couple of days after the last segment ran back in May, and we were chatting on the phone for a while, and I offered to send out a package from on the medical magnet mattress that we carry.
And we'll talk about those in a few minutes.
And so I mailed that over to her, and then, obviously when taking her address, I found out that she lived in Nanaimo, so then she was planning on coming over in a couple of weeks. So last Saturday, they actually did. They came over and they purchased one of the power bases, one of the adjustable bases that we carry.
Okay.
And one of the medical magnet therapy mattresses, and we're actually shipping that to them in a couple of weeks.
Okay. So business is booming and is expanding exponentially from South Surrey, White Rock, all over Metro Vancouver, and now to Vancouver Island as well.
Well, it is, and it's funny, Sterling, we've actually shipped these Cabedza units, which I'm sure we'll talk about shortly too.
Yep, you bet.
We have actually shipped one down to just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, you told us about this. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
We sent one up to Whitehorse in the Yukon.
Right.
And we've sent several to Alberta, one to Saskatchewan. And it's simply amazing to see where these customer base is coming from.
And I guess in those cases, if you're selling to people who are clients out of province, they clearly have sleep issues, and they're doing Google searches.
Right.
I need the right kind of bed. I have this issue. Google search, and up pops Innovative Sleep Solutions in South Surrey, British Columbia. And did they buy online then, or did they call?
Yeah, it was a telephone order.
Okay.
Yeah. Their first, usually starts with an email inquiry, and we respond to the email or give them a phone call, and we go from there. But we ship the products anywhere the customers wants us to send it.
And I suppose, Terry, as well, when people call from out of town looking for information, you're as helpful as you can be, particularly knowing that they're calling from out of town and not likely to be able to jump in the car and buzz over to the showroom.
Absolutely. I mean, as an example, the big box retailer is right there sometimes in that same community, so it's rather flattering for Dave and I to know that whatever we've done, we've got them, encouraged them to call all the way over to South Surrey, perhaps because they didn't get their questions answered as in a professional manner. It didn't necessarily satisfy them.
Right.
So they ended up calling us and giving us the answers. Also, Sterling, I wanted to expand on a point that David made with his customers, Bern and Georgian, when they purchased, because another little trick that some of these bigger stores where we used to work even perhaps, is that when they might go into that store, they won't carry the top of the line of a series. As an example, soon Dave and I will have the Black Series. Well, this particular retailer won't carry the Black Series, but they'll try and represent the series down as the top of the line series, hoping that you're rather naive. Again, getting back to our point, make sure you ask questions because they won't carry that. This customer actually went and looked at another Serta, and it was somehow represented as being the same as what we carried. Well, it's not.
Right, right.
And that's in a very important, and there's a reason for that, getting back to accessories and the packages Dave referred to it as, becoming more important than necessarily having all of the options. They kind of want to play a little bit of a pretending game. Well, we don't pretend at Innovative Sleep Solutions. We carry, or we at least are getting in, as we've been in business now over a year.
Right.
We're carrying the top of the line series of beds because we believe that our customers should get a chance to lay on the best, as well as still get an opportunity to try the next series down. Well, not just be represented as it being the top of the line.
I enjoyed my opportunity to check out the best when I had my extended tour of the showroom facility. I laid down on every blinking bed in the joint, as a matter of fact, and I enjoyed it was, and so you can easily tell the high end, the top stuff. You just sort of lie on it and go, oh my, this is nice. And if that's not even in the showroom, well, how are you ever going to know what that feels like?
Exactly.
I mean, it's just that simple.
You know, and buying a top-of-the-line bed isn't for everybody.
True.
You know, not everybody has the luxury of affording that. And as I've said before, a lot of people don't want to spend a lot of money on a mattress. They truly don't understand the correlation of how important the mattress is. They are looking at strictly, you know, how much money they can get away with as little as possible.
Right, right.
Now, you can still get a top-of-the-line product, though, which is going to cost you less money in the long run over the lifespan of the product, rather than buying 2 or 3 $500 or $600 mattresses.
Well, and that's another thing to consider, isn't it? If it's reasonable to assume that the typical inexpensive mattress lifespan is going to be 6 years, to be generous. Okay, so that's and you said that there was a model on somebody's floor right now for $600.
Yeah.
Okay, so you spend $600 every 6 years. So if you spent $1,800, that would take care of 3 6-year cycles, wouldn't it? And you'd probably have a whole lot more fun sleeping every night during that time.
Well, you'd get a better product that's going to give better longevity and better support, for sure.
Sure. Okay, well, again, and the other part about the questions that I've always enjoyed about doing this program with you two, and is just your honesty. I still think it's gutsy to encourage people to go to shop in other showrooms, but it's a standard. That's the way you do business
we
at
have
Innovative
nothing to
Sleep.
hide.
Exactly.
So, you know, and we want the customer to really feel comfortable. And Sterling, I can't tell you how many referrals we are getting from people that have already bought from us. You know, like for example, we have a couple. Terry had a couple the other day that were referred to us from Charlotte and Earl in Burnaby.
Okay.
And they came in. They actually bought at one of our competitors. And Charlotte said, well, you really should go and see what Dave and Terry have. We bought from them. They've got some great products. Before you owe it to yourself, before you actually commit to that other order, go down and see what they've got. Well, they did. Terry took great care of them on the weekend, and they ended up buying from us, and they canceled the order at the other place because we did have a better product that suited their budget for a little bit more money.
And you know, one of the things that I've enjoyed the most is the time that you two take to help us learn what are the good and the right questions to ask when I'm shopping for a mattress. It's one thing to say, yeah, get out there and go ask questions, but you know, I always say, okay, great. So now I'm going to go shopping for a mattress at other people's stores. So what should I ask them? What kinds of questions should I ask? And you're very forthcoming with, you know, ask them about this. And if they don't know what you're talking about, you're in the wrong store. Leave immediately. Because it's basic information, friends. It's not rocket science.
Or the salesman that keeps on talking and just won't stop. You know, it doesn't listen to your needs, that doesn't ask you enough questions and just keeps telling you about how great they are, you know, or you know, how long they've been doing it and that they're better than anybody else. Okay, sure, you could argue that Terry and I say that too, but the difference is that we explain in detail to what that bet is going to do for that customer.
Well, especially if there is a specific health requirement, Terry. If someone comes in and says, you know, I have this particular condition, and therefore my sleeping is kind of tricky for me. What can you do? And you're, generally speaking, able to just take good care of them. But in some stores, they almost get laughed at.
Absolutely. And Dave and I realize that, and part of why we're on this show is education. We know that we are going to stand out the more that the consumer is educated. So it's to our benefit if our competitors are educating people more, then everybody gets better at this.
True.
We know we're going to stand out beyond what they offer, because we specifically are, one of our main statements is we strive to sell the healthiest bed in Canada. So even if they do educate them, we know they're going to come to us.
Right.
Because we're going to stand out. So education is key.
Sir, the more you learn, the more you realize that the answer to the problem is likely to be found at Innovative Sleep Solutions. So
Absolutely.
Good on education, right? Our guests, Dave Temlett and Terry Harder from Innovative Sleep Solutions, online at innovativesleep.ca. Why am I having trouble with that word this morning? Must be the heat. We'll talk more about that when we return here on Boomer Life.
It's all about the baby boomer lifestyle. Boomer Life on AM 650.